A lot of people think Revelation is a bad situation that couldn't get worse. But actually today we're going to get warned it can get worse. Stay tuned.
Holy Spirit, come and refresh me. Holy Spirit, come.
Welcome to Through the Bible in 5 Minutes, and I'm your host, Brad Keeney. And today we're going to look at a warning that things are even going to get worse in Revelation. As we look at Revelation chapter 8, verse 13, as we get ready for the 5th, 6th, and 7th trumpets. But first we're going to look at our prophecy. And even before that, though, I want to remind you, please like, share, and subscribe. The more you click that like button, the more this gets out, and we get more people interested and thinking about what's happening in our world today and how we may be seeing fulfillments of Revelation right now in our own lives. Of course, people have thought that forever throughout time, but we do have some very interesting things, and someday we may do a discussion topic again, talking a little bit more about some of the things we see happening. But at any rate, thank you for tuning in, and again, we're going to be doing Revelation chapter 8, verse 13. This is episode 30. However, before we do that, we're going to look at a prophecy of Jesus' first coming, because remember, we've been looking at those prophecies, because we know that through his first coming, we see pictures of his second coming, kind of like with his first coming, we had John the Baptist coming in the spirit and power of Elijah, but it appears that Elijah is going to come before his second coming. That's actually what was foretold and what Jesus said. But along with that line, let's look at some other things about Jesus' first coming that were fulfilled and how they were fulfilled, so we can apply that to perhaps learning something about his second coming. So, we're going to look at a situation where Jesus was despised and rejected. And where we see that is Isaiah 53, verses 2 and 3. And this paraphrase says, "He was despised and rejected by men, like one from whom men hide their faces. He was despised, and we esteemed him not." Now we saw that obviously in Jesus' coming and how he was treated and what happened. And remember, part of that was prophesied because he paid the price for our sins. That's why it's so important. If you don't know what the gospel is, watch the video that's in the playlists, and it's got the gospel in there. That's so important. It's the only message that's going to matter to you in 100 years. And that's part of why we're doing these videos. We want to get that message out there, get people saved, get people thinking seriously about God. Because oftentimes we don't think seriously about God until bad times come and the things really get difficult, like what we're seeing perhaps shaping up in our lives. Although, honestly, as we look back in history, we don't have it that bad yet, but it could get worse. But at any rate, let's look at these fulfillments in the New Testament. So we'll look to Luke chapter 17, verse 25. And here this paraphrase says, "But first he must suffer many things and be rejected by this generation." And that was Jesus talking about himself being the Son of Man. And also in Luke 23:18 we see, "Away with this man! Release Barabbas to us," is what the people said to him, because they had no regard for Jesus. And also on there you can see Matthew 26:67 and also the John 1:11. At any rate, there's plenty of passages there to look at. But let's get to our study now. So, Revelation chapter 8, verse 13. "And I looked, and I heard an angel flying through the midst of the heaven, saying with a loud voice, 'Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because of the remaining blasts of the trumpet of the 3 angels who are about to sound.'" So this is, we thought it was bad up to the 4th trumpet. And if you haven't seen that, that's in the previous episode. And of course, we've been doing Revelation line by line, chapter and verse since the very beginning. But these trumpets, as if they weren't bad enough, it's going to get worse. Now, some of the futurist commentators, which is where we tend to look more, think that part of this is because the first 3 were more physical, and the last 3 are more spiritual with a physical angle. I can maybe see that. I don't know if I totally agree, but like if we look at, for example, the 5th trumpet, that's demons coming up from the abyss. That's definitely spiritual. However, oh my goodness, there's people we're going to learn about who are actually going to prefer to die and want to die because the pain is so horrible and they won't be able to. They'll seek death and won't be able to find it. That's coming up in a future episode. The 6th trumpet, we're looking at an invasion from the east where 1/3 of mankind is killed. Wow, that's horrible. Now the other thing is the 7th trumpet actually, in chapter 11, actually Christ returns. And that's a good thing. But if you're not saved, it's not such a good thing, because Jesus is going to give you what you want. And if you want to be judged on your own merits, then you're going to be judged by your own merits. And none of us are perfect. That's why we need the gospel. That's why Jesus had to die for our sins and pay the price. And if we'll just accept his gift, we can live with him in heaven forever. Now, of course, there's things that go along with that. And naturally, if you believe in something, it changes the way you act. But you don't have to get your life straightened out before you can come to the Lord. Come to the Lord now. And he wants you. He loves you. He died for you. But at any rate, I just pray that all of you people will be receptive to that. And again, remember, we have the gospel presentation that we talk about. You can look that up for yourself. Otherwise, we'll look forward to seeing you next time on Through the Bible in 5 Minutes. God bless.